Hi, welcome to What's on Your Mind. I'm Peter Snowart, and what can we learn from the 27-year-young Daniela Zapata? She was born and raised in Colombia. She now lives in Mexico. She has lived in Rotterdam, the Netherlands, where she has been working for an NGO. And she also has lived in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia for Mindvalley, where she's still a VP of Business Development. It's an amazing woman. I can assure you that. Now she is also having or organized a foundation. It's called Beyond Education, where she's helping children who are living in poverty in Colombia. Daniela has also taught children as a volunteer in Africa, so children who are living in poverty. And she has really also learned that she thought she was teaching the children, but in fact, those children and the community were teaching her. It's an amazing conversation. And also check out the link in the show notes of her foundation, Beyond Education, helping children in Colombia in poverty. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Welcome to What's on Your Mind with Peter Snowart. Every week, a guest talks about his or her story, and that story can inspire you to change your own. Here's Peter.
So, it's good morning, Daniela, for you?
Good afternoon, let's say. It's 1:30 over here.
What is it? 1 p.m.?
Yeah, 1:30 p.m.
Okay. And where is here from when I shoot? And you're standing in your shoes, is that like Colombia? Is it New York? What is it? Or is it Malaysia? I don't know.
A bit of everything, but right now it's Mexico. I'm in this beautiful city called Puerto Vallarta. It's just paradise. Yeah.
And are you there for business, for Mindvalley, or are you there for personal reasons?
I like to say that love brought me to Mexico. My boyfriend is Mexican. His family moved some time ago here. So we decided to come for December. You know, when you say, let's just spend Christmas there and New Year's. And then Christmas and New Year's turn into almost 6 months here.
Okay.
I came here, saw the beach, saw the sun, saw the sunsets, and I decided to stay a bit longer.
Okay, cool. But originally you're born in Colombia, is that right?
Yeah, I'm born originally in Colombia. I lived in Colombia until I was probably 23. Afterwards, I moved out of Colombia to the Netherlands. I used to live in the Netherlands for some time in Rotterdam.
The Netherlands?
Yes, for 1 year.
Okay.
It was amazing. Really enjoyed my time there. I was back in the day global VP for partnerships in an NGO. In the headquarters, and the headquarters was in Rotterdam. That's where I spent 1 year of my life. From there, I decided to move to Kenya to take a break on my career and focus in one of my passions, which is definitely supporting education. I went to a slum, second largest slum in Africa. It's called Kibera. It's right in the center of Nairobi. Spent a couple of months over there. Completely reshifted my focus and where I decided that I wanted to go and contribute. And from there, I took this opportunity with Mindvalley, and I've been with Mindvalley ever since, almost 2 years and a half ago, living in Kuala Lumpur until the lockdown came. And, we all started questioning, where do we want to be? What do I want to see every day that I wake up? And I end up here as I just shared.
But you're still working for Mindvalley?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But I'm going to take a couple of steps back. I mean, when you graduated, was it initially the plan for you, I'm not going to start working for corporates, I'm going to immediately go for the NGO world and making the world a better place?
Actually, it's a fun question now that you ask, because I think if I go back to that moment, I really remember that I will say to everybody, you know what, I'm going to be Ministry of Education in my country. That was a plan, That's why I studied international relations. I felt it was back in the day the career that could take me to once get closer to that opportunity. And in the path, like while I was studying and taking some volunteering experiences and started working early, I got the chance to work closely with governmental projects. So projects with the government in Colombia, projects with governments in other cities, and international development banks. And I realized just by working closely on the side that those very high structure entities take longer time than I would like to see to make things
Yeah.
happen. Just to be polite, just to be polite. So I said, I love to see a project from the creation to the reality with my eyes. I want to be able to drive not only ideas but action. And because of that early, experience on the ground, I realized, maybe in my mind, I believe that the best way to impact is, the government or NGOs. But in reality, I realized maybe there are some leaner environments like startups or companies that are in an early stage that are more fast paced. And I found a sweet spot. I'm right now in a company that is called Mindvalley. That it's growing, it's scaling a lot, still behaves a lot very, very lean, but with a very, very giant purpose and mission. So I realized it is possible to find a sweet spot where you feel you're contributing, but also things go more at the pace that you expect, which drives more fulfillment at the end of the day.
No. I'm going to come back on the Mindvalley thing because I'm a huge Mindvalley and Vision fan and customer. But that's for a couple of minutes. But first of all, I mean, you have lived in the Netherlands. You've born in Colombia. Now you're living in Mexico. I mean, I've never been to Colombia. Yes, I've been to Colombia, but it was just stepping on the coast, and I've seen a city. I don't remember the city. It was beautiful, but that was it for me. I mean, Colombia and also Mexico has in Europe and how do you say that? Not always a positive perception, and I don't want to offend you. But you've lived here, you've lived there. Here meaning the Netherlands, Rotterdam, which is quite similar to Belgium. Can you explain to me what are the cultural differences between living in those two? Let's take Colombia and let's take like the Netherlands. Okay, the weather is better. I mean, I don't know. You dance the salsa all day long. I don't know. I mean, can you give me the real stuff instead of the touristic, things that they want us to believe?
Big time. And I love this question because I started international relations because I wanted to show my country or the real side of my country outside. I feel like we had some very dark times way in the past, very, very related to the drug cartels back in the day. Yeah. And it's a history full of violence between, the government and what we call the guerrilla back in the day. So because of this idea of Colombia and also Mexico went through a very similar sort of process, a lot of violence, and then the whole challenges with the drug cartels and so on. I felt it became, this image of these two countries that is dangerous to be there. But once you come to Colombia, we used to have this saying that is the only risk is wanting to stay. Like people will come with a lot of fear. With a lot of anxiety or feeling uncertain about what they will find. But when they get in reality, you will find really, really warm people. Everybody's super welcoming. They don't need to know you. You just ask in the street for help, for anything that you might need, and people are super available and willing and super heart open to support in the best way that they can, right? So it's a very, very open culture in terms of heart set. That's something that I love to highlight. Of course, we have cool weather. I love to say that because we don't understand the idea of seasons because we don't live it, right? For us, it's always like sunny or less sunny, probably. Especially I'm from the Caribbean part of Colombia, so seasons don't exist. Daylight saving, all of that, it's weird for us. The other thing is still pretty much it's a country that even though it's Colombia, it's globalized. We do still struggle a lot with, like, for example, literacy or English literacy. Yeah. So, for example, if you're coming to Colombia and you don't speak Spanish, you will end up learning a bit because you will have to push yourself to be able to communicate with the locals. I feel like the Netherlands is so open to the world. I know that Dutch is love Dutch, but anywhere you can, communicate and figure it out. But in Colombia, that's still something that you got to juggle your Spanish a bit, which tends to be fun and interesting. pretty good for anyone's profile. And if you want to travel in Latin America, it's always a good skill to have. But that's a key difference for sure. Like you will need to really immerse yourself in the culture and in the reality of people. And I think perhaps everybody's like a big time hustler,
Okay.
passionate about life, with strong purpose, very passionate about what they do, how they live, their missions. So it's a very energetic, charismatic, and very positive. A very strong culture with positive mindset, despite the challenges that both in Mexico and Colombia we have gone through historically. We just look forward and we try to think what is the best possible thing that can come out after hardships, which I know Europeans tend to be a bit more rational and grounded, and so we are big time supporter and uplifting people for anybody who's around us.
Did you live very far from the city called, I don't know if this is the right pronunciation, Medellin?
Yes, I mean,
because
it's just
because
you
I
went
saw.
there?
No, but I saw recently on YouTube a couple of vloggers, and a lot of people said you cannot go there. It's one of the most dangerous cities in the world. And they showed around with the camera, and they were really, it's not true. There were a couple of them, and it looks so nice, and it looks so attractive that I'm like, I'm going to catch the next flight. I'm going to go there. So it's just curiosity, because
Yeah.
I forgotten the town where I went to, Colombia. It was near the coast.
Cartagena, probably.
Cartagena, yes, and it was
Yeah,
beautiful. It was beautiful, but at the same time, they said, "Yeah, you have to warn here. Sometimes there are parts of the city that when there's a kind of a strike or they in fight with the government, then they're going to burn down cars and things like that." So I'm like, is that true? Is that not true? Because I didn't feel anything, because that conditioning that the media has given me about parts of Colombia, it's dangerous. I didn't felt that, to be honest.
You know what? I think it's an evolution, and the beautiful thing about reality is the sense of progress and evolution that can come. Just picking up on the example of Medellin that you mentioned, Medellin went in 10 years from being one of the most violent and dangerous cities in the whole world to be the most innovative city, because of the amount of investment in innovation, in entrepreneurship, in sustainability, in sustainable practices as well. So right now, Medellin, that's the real pronunciation. Everybody's like, Medellin. But like in Colombian Spanish, we call it Medellin. So yeah, you see, like in 10 years, everything shifted for them. The government, the citizens have been doing an amazing job, like also the private companies and the private sector, to lift up the city. And if you're Colombian, you identify people in Medellin and Medellin as a city that where entrepreneurship, technology, bilingualism are flourishing, So it is a great story of seeing that it's possible to evolve, that it's possible to progress with a good collaboration between the citizens, the government, the private sector. So it's a must do in your bucket list.
Okay.
I just came from there a couple of weeks ago. I managed to spend 2 good weeks there, and it's just genius. It's super green, the city. So definitely super high on the rank for recommendations for foreigners that want to visit Colombia.
Cool. Now, you're together with your boyfriend. I mean, assuming within 10 years, maybe you will have children, because you're quite passionate about children.
Probably. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, but my question is, in which country do you want to live when you have children? Do you want to go back home? I don't know, close to your parents or something, and then have your children there so they can also be raised by your parents. I mean, or is it more in Mexico or in the Netherlands or in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur?
So I don't know how you see it, but something that my boyfriend and I were really questioning. I love to question things that we take for granted, or we think that things have to be in a certain way. I think my generation and the generations before were raised believing that you need to pick one place, and kind of like get your roots there and root there. That's the idea that I was born, like, oh, my parents will move to the city and we will do everything there, until they grow old and that's it. But my boyfriend and I were wondering, it doesn't have to be like that, I think right now, especially with like the world going fully remote in so many layers, we were thinking, okay, we can be 50% of the time in this location and 50% of the time in the other location. So you don't need to just like go with one. For example, as I told you, I lived 2 years and a half in Malaysia, and I find Southeast Asia wonderful, very diverse, very interesting. But I wouldn't like to live there maybe the whole year. But perhaps, what about living 40% of the time there and 60% in Latin America?
Okay.
I don't have children. I don't know if you do, but I know that people say, yeah, when you get children, it gets harder. But I think also if there's certain stability, but then also some variation, that might help to open the mindset.
It's I have a child of a boy of 4 years in August, and my intention is to travel a lot with him so he can see the world. Of course, I don't want to bring him in places which can be dangerous or risky. That's another thing. But children are very adaptable. At the same time, they need structure. So you have to. And the most important thing is love. When they're surrounded with love, with people who love them for who they are, I think they can go anywhere. So if they're, I don't know, sometimes in Mexico or in Colombia, or it doesn't matter. So they're very adaptable. So of course, there is the practical thing. When they're baby, you have to travel very long. It can be. I wouldn't say it is more difficult. It's not more difficult. They're going to sleep a lot, so I think it's doable. I've already traveled with him when he was a couple of months to Ibiza, to Spain. So I don't see a problem there. So
right.
Now, you've also then. By the way, I've also studied international relations. You've then you've become a teacher in your sabbatical in the biggest slums in Kenya, was it? I believe, or Nairobi?
Yeah, in Nairobi.
Yeah. Why there? Why? Where did you get that idea? You woke up after a meditation and you said, "I'm going to go to Nairobi and become a teacher."
Oh, you're gonna laugh with this because it was not exactly meditation, but I just felt it was a sign. Long story short, I was thinking, what is it that I want to do next when I finish my experience when I was in the Netherlands? And I was in a conference. It's a leadership development conference, and I was supporting one of the speakers during the session. And the speaker was very nervous. I remember that the speaker was super nervous. I think it was the first time she was speaking to such a big audience. And I was trying to help her. So I was jumping in, helping her with some logistics, some setups. It was a big workshop. And I know she was struggling. So I was just trying to give her emotional support. And then I could barely pay attention to her content because I was just so stressed trying to help this person. But then the only moment that I kind of like calmed down is she said, I'm going to play a video of one of the projects that we have as a company. They were a giant company in oil and gas, but they had one of these very high impact programs. And when she started the video, it was a program in Kenya. And it was just a story of a girl who was from the community, received certain support from the program. She developed herself, overachieved stuff that she would never think it's possible if she would have stayed in the community. But then she decided to come back and help. And I kid you not, Peter, I just broke into tears out of the blue. Out of the blue, I just felt this huge sensation that there was a calling for me there. And I cannot explain this rationally because imagine the face of my parents when I told them, I'm going to take some time off. I'm not going to work. I'm just going to travel with my savings. And I'm going to Kenya alone as a woman, which still in 21st century, that's a big problem, no? So they were shocked, scared, and confused.
Your parents.
They have always trusted. Yeah, my parents. I'm an only child, so they will forever think that they need to take care of me. So back in the day, they were confused, but they have always supported a lot my decision making. I didn't have rational information to tell them this is why I need to be there. It's not like I just felt it. I just felt it, and I followed that message. And when I arrived there, everything made sense. I think I've never experienced such bliss with so little. Like how we think that we need. Society has sold this idea that in order to feel better or to feel more, you need to accumulate, or you need to own more, or you need to be more, or it's about the title, or it's about, like so many things that at the end of the day, when I was there with just kids, no title, no expectation, just fully open hearted to give what is it that I knew, and with the humbleness to understand that I was the one who went there to learn. I thought I went there to teach, and maybe I did. And I know the kids were very happy with some of the programs we created, especially on leadership. We call it leadership camp. They love the class. I even taught them Spanish. I hope it's useful one day for them. But it was a very humbling lesson, and it just redirected me on my purpose. I still work with corporates, and that's what I do. But on a soul level, that's what drove me to start my foundation in Colombia. Because even though I'm not physically present there, I felt like I could be like that Kenyan girl that uses the power, the tools, the mindset that she got outside of the community to bring it back to the community. So that is one of those decisions that you have no idea the meaning and the impact they will have in your life, but forever change everything.
Wow.
That you do.
And how young are you?
Right now or back then?
No.
Right now, I just turned 27.
It's amazing. I mean,
yeah.
When you send me a message via LinkedIn, I was blown away with your passion and that purpose driven. I even envy you because you do what I want to do. And although I have the same mission, and also I had the same conclusion. I mean, for the years I've accumulated stuff, titles, money, and it's all fine, but it doesn't fulfill you. I mean, it doesn't give you that everlasting fire. And if once you discover your purpose, and that especially when you can light somebody else his heart with your talents, your gift, your knowledge, your whatever, your passion, I mean, and you can give really back, I mean, that's the real diamond. And and it's like you said, then you can really become very humble, and then how do you say that? You become. There is no. I wouldn't say there is no ego anymore, but you are very grateful that you can do that, and that you can give that thing inside of you to the other person. So it's amazing. And at the same time, I also think, I mean, your parents were quite afraid that something would happen to you. But I also think when you're working towards that purpose, that there is some kind of everything is combining, is setting together, that universe is working with you in some kind of synchronicity, and there is no danger. It's going to take care of you. Maybe that sounds a little silly, but I think it's going to propel you, and it's going to attract you where you need to be.
No, and that's crazy because I used to tell my parents I feel so safe in the community. Like Nairobi is giant, but every time I will go to a community, I even feel safer in the community than maybe in somewhere else alone. Because in Kenya, I think this is in East Africa in general. When they see white people, I mean, I don't consider myself white. Maybe I'm a bit lighter, but they all think it's like whenever they see white people, they call it Muzungus. So in the community, when they see a Muzungu, most of the time they know that the Muzungu is there to help, right? Like, it will be weird that a person flies all the way there just to harm, right? So when they see someone that looks like us or that looks different from what they are used to, they become very supportive. And the kids will hold my hands and they will take me to my bus and bring me back to school. Parents, people just want to shake hands with you. They just want to say hello to you. They just want to exchange some words, practice their English, or try to ask, where are you from? So honestly, it's exactly what you said. I mean, of course, we always need to be careful, either in New York, in Mexico, or in Indonesia. But it's exactly what you said. I felt the community was really, really protecting me and all of the volunteer teachers, because they know that we were just there to do our best and to put our little, piece of the Lego to build something bigger for them.
After that experience, then you joined Mindvalley.
I joined Mindvalley with an incredible opportunity, the opportunity to build the business to business department of Mindvalley from the ground up. So when I arrived, Mindvalley had the intention to go into that direction, and I was hired to help set up the department and scale it. So it has been a wonderful journey. I know you're very passionate about personal growth, and it excites me to be able to bring more of this to more leaders and to more companies. I love to see companies caring about their employees growing, not only functionally or with their hard skills, but growing in their mindset, growing in their habits, in their beliefs, and supporting them to be better, in terms of well-being. Right now with the pandemic, it's mental health. It's a very important topic, and what we're able to do through what I do in Mindvalley is to bring that awareness and to create those programs inside companies.
If I'm correct, so, the purpose of mission of Mindvalley, it's something that Vision explains, I think a couple of months ago, already, I think 6 months ago, is that his big vision of Mindvalley is to replace the degrees that you will have like a Harvard, that you have the real skills and all the things that you need to become, I wouldn't say successful in life, but to really live life to the fullest. And also the fact, what I also admire from Vision and his team, is that he was able to build $100 million US dollar company without any VC and any external founder. Yeah. And this is something very extraordinary, because you really can combine a bigger purpose-driven company and at the same time, have a healthy financial situation for your company, which a lot of people think these are opposite, but it isn't. And I really admire that about Vision and his team, and then Mindvalley in its total.
Yeah, I think Vision has proved it's possible to do that. I think for what I love is that this is a story of inspiration for so many entrepreneurs out there that are wondering, should I stay, like as the main owner, or should we get some other funding? I think there's no wrong or right. It's what resonates with the values of each founder. But it's a great path to see that it's possible, and I think that inspires others to follow that path if that's what is best for their businesses. And like the idea of replacing traditional education, it's a very interesting concept, because what I love is how can we make more accessible to others education of the quality of like a Harvard degree or a Stanford degree or an Ivy League degree. I think one of the greatest things about these sort of universities is to be able to create like a super valuable network, which you can also find in Mindvalley, very like-minded people like you and me that are looking to self-evolve, to be better, to contribute more, to stay at the top of their game and do better for others. So you will find a very similar network inside Mindvalley in our members. You will be able to find also super premium teachers that can educate you, your team, or your family, or your colleagues, while at the same time it's way much more affordable and more holistic. What I love to explain is that we provide the most holistic curriculum for human development. Right? It's not only about you being great as a businessman, but how can you be a great parent? How can you be at the top of your health and your well-being at the same time? Right? It's not impossible if we get the right mentors and the right inspiration. So that's empowering and that's exciting to see that you resonate a lot with that message too.
I'm also a sales director of a marketing tech agency, a company. Bringing personal development is a personal passion of mine, and the mindset is also another one which I bring to our teams. But people have to be open for that. I can imagine when you are knocking on somebody's door, B2B, to a company, and you're talking, I assume, with a VP HR. I assume that you start there, or a CEO. That at least I'm talking here about Europe. And I don't want to generalize, but personal development still has that. In a kind of corporate environment, it's still, I wouldn't say it's not accepted, but it's changing. And here and there, you see some kind of form of meditation or mindfulness or whatever. But it's still an area where I see with young people, older people. It doesn't matter. There is still they don't know really what it is. They think it's some kind of magic art or some voodoo or something. Is that also something that you see in your day-to-day life, that you really have to make sure that other people become how do you say it, that they become aware and conscious of what personal development can really mean for their people, and meaning happier people and more productive people, etc., etc. Is that also something that you encounter? Because if I would imagine in your place, because you're business development, if I'm correct, I mean, that's one of the obstacles that I think I would meet if I would sell Mindvalley in a corporate environment.
Yeah. You are super right. I've seen it all, Peter. I've seen from people on very big corporates with very, very like high level power and super huge level of decision making that are like you and me, you know, that completely understand the connection between a person growing personally and that improving the performance at the job. But it has been also a journey of educating the people, because in very old and traditional or high structured organizations, one of the biggest questions is, yeah, Daniela, but I don't understand what personal growth has to do with my employee doing better in their accounting job, you know? Mm-hmm. And at the beginning for me, it's like, what? Like, I just see a connection so obvious, but it's not obvious. And as you said, I think older organizations and traditional organizations that have always been operating in a certain way, that are used to sort of traditions that even sometimes get biased, you know, because of their own behaviors and culture and so on, it gets very hard to run the change management to embed a program like this. So that's always present, but it has been wonderful to also see leaders in top leading edge organizations with a more modern or open mindset to try something different. Yeah. So it has been a great balance. It has been a great learning journey to make more people aware of the benefits, to get more people to try it, to get more people to experience it. Because at the end of the day, once they sign up, they end up noticing that their people are feeling better. They are transforming behaviors, which is something that sometimes for the leaders seems impossible. You know, like they see their culture and they are like, oh no, my employees are lazy. They are all close-minded. But then you give them the chance, you give them the tool, you give them the opportunity, and you see people transforming in ways you wouldn't expect. So I think at the end, all the hustle and all the doors are closed pay off when we see our clients being able to share from their experience what it meant for them to go through this journey.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm really convinced that, but like I said, I mean, if you can work on, just start on the basics. I mean, start, for instance, with the self-limiting beliefs or the conditionings the convictions, the people, or the things that we think that are true. And I mean, Vision is talking a lot about this. And if you start with that and you enable your employees with some kind of program at Mindvalley to really change the way they think about food. I mean, I followed the Eric Edmides program. I also had him on the podcast. I mean, and he's also one of the top teachers of Mindvalley and public speaking, and he's an amazing public speaker. I mean, just to see that how he is challenging the things you know, and it's unbelievable, and it's really life changing. Now, we're going to come to the real core. Why I asked you is, I mean, I received a message from you for LinkedIn, and you started your own foundation. It's called Beyond Education. I mean, you're so passionate about it. It's actually a great written message. I mean, you know really the difference between a sleazy sales message and a real heart-touching message, because you're actually asking for donations. That's also why I asked you on the podcast. So congratulations with that. Now I want to ask you, beyond education. I mean, you had that experience in Nairobi, teaching in the slums. Then you had your first NGO. Of course, Mindvalley is also in the how do you call that? In the education space. where did you get the idea to start a foundation supporting education for the Colombian children who are living in poverty? I mean, was it something that you had that idea when you were working at Mindvalley, that you're like, I'm going to create a kind of and don't take it the wrong way, poverty Mindvalley for people who cannot afford Mindvalley? Or where did you get, where was that spark that you get that idea? Of course, it lies in your passion and purpose. I think that's pretty clear. But was it during some kind of meditation or ayahuasca or whatever? Where did you get that insight?
So when I left Kenya, you go with your heart full, but then you go back to reality, right? Like, okay, I gotta keep doing the other things. And I had this idea pending that I wanted to come back and help those kids, the ones that I met in Kenya. And then I had it like in my mind, but I was postponing it. I don't have time right now. I know that will require a lot of effort. Oh my God, I need to put a lot of things together. And this idea that we sell to ourselves of busyness. Now I'm busy, I don't have time for that. Like, I know I have this dream, but I don't have time yet for this dream. But when are you gonna make the time? When is it gonna happen if you never make the time, right? So back in my birthday last year, my boyfriend and my best friends, they gather. And they say, you know what? Let's help her to kickstart her dream of getting donations for these kids in Kenya. So she can, initially it all started as an idea of I just wanted to pay the school of at least 10 kids in Kenya, because I realized they cannot access a school. So I was like, okay, let's just get them so they can, graduate at least and have the basic degree. So in my birthday, they surprised me with a fundraising campaign already up. They collected some money and they told me the rest is up to you. So I received this gift on my birthday. I once again, I burst into tears. It's not that I cry much, but apparently with this topic, I do a lot. So I burst into tears because I was like, damn, this is the reason why we have friends. Friends are the ones that keep you accountable with your dreams and with your goals. And they are there to push you, sometimes to take little or big steps. So actually, I told Vision about this and he was so excited. He spread the voice as well. He was helping me. All my colleagues at Mindvalley start donating as well for us to be able to support these kids in Kenya. And what happened is that the pandemic hit, right? And it became very, very hard to mobilize the resources and to be able to travel to Kenya to guarantee that all the money will be spent in the way that I promised to the donors. So when the situation hit and it was very, very complex to mobilize to Kenya, the kids were not going to school. It was a very uncertain period. I started, like in my meditations, trying to ask for guidance. Like, oh my God, I have all of this money sitting in the bank account. And it's like money is energy, right? And that energy is stagnated because it's not circulating to the people that it's supposed to, because the pandemic has us like standing on one feet or the other. So after one of the meditations and conversations with some people and journaling, what came was like, why don't we just readdress this money to Colombia? I mean, in Colombia, there are kids exactly in the same conditions. Plus, I know people there. Plus, I have people on the ground that can help me operate the project and build something more structured. I didn't want it to be like a one-off time donation, take the money, no idea. I wanted to create something more long-term, I think transformation doesn't happen overnight. So I was like, let's build something bigger. And my dream with my mom was always to have a foundation together. She's an expert on the social development aspect. She has been working in social work like for so many years. So it just became obvious, why don't we readdress the money to Colombia? I just need to communicate this to the donors. Why don't we establish the foundation legally? So we do everything right. We report, we provide accountability, we create better programs, we create something more comprehensive. And we just got in this brainstorming process. And at the end of the day, what came up is we want to go beyond traditional education, right? Like, we understand that education is the first step for a kid to get out of the poverty cycle, but it's not the only step. So our mission became to integrate concepts of education, be able to provide the kids the basic education, but complement that with a strong program in empowerment. And what empowerment means for us is us being able to help the kid to increase self-esteem and self-awareness, as being able to help the kid to improve their communication skills, interpersonal relationships, emotional intelligence, and help the kid to build a compelling life vision and life purpose. Which in these
Wow.
communities, this is something that you never speak about because they don't think they can dream
Yeah.
beyond what they see. So,
Now,
so
yes,
that's
yes,
how
go
we
on, go on, go on.
started.
Yeah. Now, the first question that a lot of people have when they are going to donate to a foundation or to an organization is, where the hell does my money go? And will it go? Take now the example of the school in Nairobi or Kenya. I mean, I'm also a musician, so I already played a lot of, how you call that, concerts for free in order to fund schools in, I think it was somewhere also in Africa. And, but I saw then people who were with their bikes there, and they really built that school, and I hope that the money went there. I literally gave away my first guitar to an organization here in Belgium who is also CEO of a scale up, and his organization, his foundation, is giving away instruments to people, to children who are living on the streets in Africa, in order to play and that they stay away from drugs. Okay, now they assured me that the instruments would arrive at the right people and not, I don't know, sold or whatever, or get lost. How do you make sure that the money, like in Africa, how do you make sure that the money is really going to go there and not going to stick to somebody's fingers or come into the wrong hands? The same for Colombia. How do you, I mean, I think this is a question that a lot of people are saying about foundation, like, yeah, but you don't know where the money is going and blah, blah, blah. I mean, what do you answer that, Daniela?
Yeah, so I love that question, Peter, because I think one of my core values is accountability. You know, like I've always cared about being transparent, about acting with integrity. I think that's more like the right word. I mean, because I've been leading NGOs for quite some time. And if you're trusted with a budget in a non-for-profit, you want to make sure that you're doing the right thing, right? So when I had the possibility of sending all of this money to Kenya, that's exactly what stopped me from doing it. I didn't have a way to guarantee, not to myself, not to anyone, that the money will 100% go to the communities and to the children. So what we did is, that's why I team up with my mom. There's no one I can trust more than my mom. We set up the foundation legally. We have legal representation. We have our accountant. We have the person that takes care of all the taxation and all the legal process of NGO. So we fully establish it to make sure that we are able to provide accountability and to show the integrity and the impact that we're doing to the donors. So I feel like it's really hard. And I think I've been there in cases where I don't know if I should trust or donate. I've trusted to do the best and believe. But I think that's why personal connections are so important. Which we are just wrapping up one of the biggest crowdfunding campaign that we have launched so far. It's actually wrapping up tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw it. You have almost 15K. I saw it.
So for me, it has been a journey of reaching out to the people that know me, you know, and some of my connections in LinkedIn, like you. But when you go and see the results of who are the biggest donors, most of the time these are people that at a certain point of my life they have bumped into me. Either they have done business with me, either I've consulted them, either I lead them, either they let me, either, you know, we had different interactions and they trust my values. So I've been able to grow the foundation, starting with people that know me and trust me and that have known my whole life and know what are my intentions. But at the same time, I think letting people know that we are a legal NGO, that we have an accountant, that we have all in place, all the papers, and getting to know also the team that is behind. It's what have gave people the certainty, you know, and the trust to know that we are just doing this for the same reason. And we guarantee that 100% of the money goes to the project within the community and the children that are beneficiaries from the program.
Yeah.
So
is it possible, Sol, that your father or your uncle or something is the legal representative because he has same last name as you?
Yeah. That's my father. So, you know, like since I was little, I think probably when I was 5, was the first time that my mom took me to a social project. Like
Okay.
one of my first memories in life is me in how do you call this? Like it's not like an orphanage, but it's these places that they kind of receive foster kids. Um, and since I was little, I remember when growing up talking with my parents, we want to have a foundation. We want to have a foundation. But my limiting belief back in the day is like I said to myself, who has a foundation? Like Bill and Melinda Gates. I mean, Malala. Like I was
Okay.
thinking you either need to be extremely wealthy or you need to be a global advocate with United Nations to be able to have a foundation. So it was a dream that is always in the back of my mind, but that when you feel that that's not something that you can aspire because I don't know who told me that, but I just guessed that I needed to be either a UN ambassador or extremely wealthy person at the level of Bill Gates to be able to start my own foundation. So when things fell into place, we just came back to that dream that we had since I'm very young, and we put it together. So, for example, my dad is a legal representative. I take care mainly of strategic partnerships and fundraising. It's a bit my edge. I feel like my genius is there. So that's a bit of what I do. And my mom is the expert in everything regarding curriculum, social development. I mean, she has worked with the government, with international NGOs as well. So she brings all of that knowledge. And the rest of the team are mainly volunteers
Okay.
that are also joining the team with their expertise. Some people are experts in branding, some people are volunteering as experts in marketing or social media content. Some people are volunteering as experts on human resources to help us recruit other volunteers. And we have been growing the team. A lot of women in the team actually that are very interested, that are in their corporate careers, but also want to contribute back to a social project.
And they're all from Colombia, or?
Actually, I have Brazilians,
Okay.
Colombians, and Mexicans as volunteers right now. Recently, a girl from South Africa joined the team because I work with her at Mindvalley, and she just fell in love with what we're doing. So yeah, I mean, also for the ones that are hearing us and want volunteering opportunities, I don't think that the contribution needs to come in the shape of money all the time. I've received wonderful donations in terms of time, advice, and volunteering from so many talented people that has helped us, lift up the business model of the foundation, the programs, the strategic planning, and the day-by-day operations. That it has been also wonderful to get support in the way that people want to give the support.
Wow. Wow. Now, I think it's similar. Eh? I mean, looking at the children who live in poverty in Colombia and in Nairobi, Kenya. I mean, I imagine these children are like 6 to 8 to 10 years young. Is that correct?
So right now, I mean, in Kenya, I work with kids from 4 years old to around 12, 13.
Yeah.
Here in the foundation, we are working with kids between 6 to 13 years old as well.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, but then my first question is, I mean, how can you establish transformation? What is a typical program where you start with? I mean, you start then with they learn how to read and write. Do you start with I don't know, read and write, and then I assume it's Spanish, and maybe then adding later English, although Spanish is also a global language, but I can imagine, I mean, your English is fluent, eh? But so how do you make decisions there on what programs do you offer them, and how do you do that? Is that then online, or is it via teachers locally who are also volunteers, or how does it work, Daniela?
So we started with a physical presence model, right? So we partner up with one school in Colombia. The dean of this school has been a big time angel. He gave us access to everything, the computers from the school, the places, so we can have like different sort of locations. It's an open space, so kids don't feel like they're always locked in a classroom just in their normal school time. So it's an open space. There's a park. So we have very nice location right now to be able to deliver the classes. The pandemic got a bit more complicated in Colombia in the last weeks because we had Easter and the cases went up. So one of the things we do is we tested an online model it really, really work. Of course, some families have issues with connectivity, with technology, but we run a couple of logistics to be able to make sure that they can all connect, either through WhatsApp, either through their phones, either
Okay.
through some laptops. So we are definitely going to stick with a physical presence model, but we are adapting slowly and slightly some components virtually, as we are able to also provide some technology to the families to be able to not miss out. And in terms of the curriculum, we have two programs, right? Like we have the educational program and we have the empowerment program. In the educational program, the kids get access to school. So they're going to a traditional school, and we support them in the learning gaps, and we support them in whatever is stopping them or gets them to drop out, because school dropouts are huge in Latin America, huge. Like maybe a kid can go to a school, but it doesn't finish. So
And why is that? Because that was also a question attached to that. I assume when you're living in a slum or in poverty,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the most stimulating environment, I assume. I mean, when your dad and mom are working, and maybe, I don't know, there's also some interfamilial violence, I assume.
Yeah.
And I mean, then when you have to sit there with your laptop, and maybe it's even trashed or something, or even there's alcohol abuse, I don't know, or drugs. I mean, it's not a really stimulating environment to learn something, because it's like, no, we need money right now, so you should work for money so that we have money instead of investing in yourself. So it's best that you take away the kids to another location where they are really are feeling that stimulating, loving environment where they can learn. Is that true?
So
or is that
that's those are some of the core reasons. Other reasons to add up to what you mentioned are they cannot afford the uniform of the school, so they
Okay.
cannot go. They cannot afford the fee of transportation to go to a school, so they don't go. They don't have anything to eat, so they cannot go. They cannot access, for example, they cannot purchase the books that are requested, so they get behind. Some kids have learning disabilities or disadvantages, and because the system cannot take care of these kids with special disadvantages, sometimes they get left behind. So it's a major package of reasons of like why a kid can drop. Actually, there's more stimulation to drop out from school than to stay. So
Okay.
we work very, very closely with the families. So our main beneficiary is the kid, but we have something that we call, I'm trying to translate from Spanish to English. Let's call it something like parent school. It sounds weird, but
Yeah.
every month we have sessions that involve the parents.
Okay.
Because one of the conditions that when they join the foundation, we make very clear is the kid cannot drop out. And
Okay.
it's a common effort between the family and the foundation and the school to make sure that the kid successfully closes the academic year, right? So we have psychology supporting the learning gaps. We have some benefits in our program for the families that apply that need it, like uniforms, like school kits, like subsidy for transportation to avoid all of this, right? So first of all, we guarantee that the kid is successfully enrolled and it's completing the years. But we are adding also two more programs because we realize that this is not enough. One is the English program and one is the technology program. Because, Peter, in the moment where we are at, that the future of the workforce and the current workforces are global, this means companies are sub-hiring from all the continents. These kids are going to graduate. First of all, they're not going to speak English because, as I told you, the English literacy in Colombia is so low. So we need to do some extra classes so they can compete when they graduate, with other graduates from other countries that maybe, for example, in Kenya, English is a second language, or it's a native almost language. So they have a bit of more advantage because of that. They can enter the global workforce right away. At this point of time, Colombian kids is not the reality. So we are doing an extra push in English to get them to speed up and level up, and in technology, because right now, I mean, you need to handle technology not only on a basic level, but let's say at a pro level to be able to succeed in any job you want to do. You want to do sales, you got to learn technology. You want to do finance and accounting, well, you got to deal with technology. You want to be a programmer, well, super into technology, right? So that these are two gaps that we're seeing that the basic system does not cover. So we are stepping there to bridge that gap. That's one of the programs. The other program is empowerment program. That it's a mix between soft skills, mindset, and habits. that normally these kids don't get to learn from their families or from the regular schooling system, because the regular schooling system is not prepared to teach you how to manage your emotions or how to create a life
No.
purpose or
No.
have a life project, or even how, for these kids that are in a very violent environment, as you mentioned, they don't even know how to establish interpersonal relationships
Yeah.
without, punching at one another, right? So for
No.
them, that is creating a relationship, and we go deep into these aspects with different tools, depending on the age of the kids. So our programs are designed to be able to fulfill those 5 outcomes at the empowerment level. So we have a 6-month curriculum that they go through, and then the other 6 months we iterate with different ways of going deeper into that knowledge over those 5 outcomes. So that's a bit of what we offer, and it has been a wonderful experience to see the kids evolving already.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you want to touch 1 million children in 10 years. I mean,
that's the big hack.
yeah, but that's great. I'm so fallen in love with that goal. But what does that then mean? I mean, is then the plan within 5 years or something, when the foundation is really big, that you're going to work less for Mindvalley or even stop with Mindvalley in the long term, or how do you see that?
I don't know if you follow one of these personal growth authors. Her name is Mari Forleo. She talks about being a multi-passionate entrepreneur or a multi-passionate person. I love her concept because I feel like that explains what many of us feel right now. Like you see this person, let's say financial advisor and fitness passionate, like we are in a time where we're just passionate about, there are so many things to do living in today's world. I find it very exciting, and I feel like I love my career and I love what I'm able to do on a corporate level as well, because I see the impact as well on a big scale. But I also love to do this. So I don't know how things will end up for me in the future, but I'm having a very wonderful time balancing both, and both provide me very different experiences. I'm growing in very different areas, and I'm able to contribute also at different levels. So I feel they complement each other. I want to reach the time where perhaps I don't want to be retired. I don't know what's your take on that, but my dream is not to get retired. Maybe I just want to stop. Maybe I just want to keep working for my passion projects. I don't want to feel it like work. My boyfriend and I, we call it building time. So you're just building. But yeah, I see myself still working for these or other passion projects that I reach. But I want to stay active in what areas that I'm involved.
Now, if you would go back in time and you would meet the Daniela when she's 17, like 10 years ago, what kind of advice would you give her?
Well, I think I used to be a perfectionist big time. And I feel that being a perfectionist stopped me from taking action. So I feel that imperfect action will always be 100% more valuable than perfect ideas, because a perfect idea is just that. So I think the advice to my younger self will be to focus on progress over perfection, and to strive to take baby steps, because one step at a day is 365 steps at the end of the year. So better to do that than just like closing the year and finding out that nothing happened. So I think that would be my advice for my younger self.
And in 10 years, who is Daniela Zapata?
In 10 years, who Daniela Zapata will be? Wow, Peter, it's a good one. I hope still a philanthropist. I did one exercise that I highly recommend everybody that is listening to. It's an exercise from Keith Ferrazzi, and he was speaking about what are the identities that you want to embody. And for me, 3 words came. I've always been a leader since a very early age, without the title, just from the spirit, let's say, then with the title and all of that comes with the perks of growing your career. But I said, I want to be a leader.
Why? Because of the impact that you want to make?
I feel that leadership allows you, it's a tool for empowerment. I feel that when you're a leader, it's your role to uplift and empower people. You don't need to have the title to do it, but I associate leadership with a lot of influence, I think power and influence are words that on a society level, sometimes we judge, but we don't need to judge them if they don't come from a place of greed, I think the idea of having power or having influence over people, if it's well managed, is beautiful. So the first concept that came to my mind was leader. The second one was relationship builder. And the third one was philanthropist. So I got it could change or evolve as I grow up and as I live other things. But the idea of embodying the identity of a leader, of a philanthropist, and as a relationship builder, I was like, I feel like this is my edge to contribute to whatever I'm up to in 10 years.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now we're going to close down because I feel I could go on, and I want to talk. And then I'm going to stop the recording, but because I have another couple of questions that I want to talk about. But after this recording, the campaign tomorrow ends, but it doesn't mean you can still donate, I assume.
Yeah, you can still donate. It's only that doTERRA will only double the money that we gather until tomorrow. So, because that's the policy that they have with this partnership that we did, but we can still raise some funds. So probably, if you want to include it, I'll just give you another link, which is the link that we have evergreen. Let's say that it's always there, in case people want to contribute. But tomorrow we close the campaign. It has been a very active month for the past months. So it has been very beautiful to see the support of people and knocking doors and opportunities open. Some others don't open as you expect, but at least I feel like when there's a purpose calling you, the universe find a way to help you to get it done. It's not even about you. It's just about the purpose happening and you being a vehicle to make it work.
Daniela, I cannot find the exact words, but I feel really grateful that our paths have crossed and that you have taken the time to explain who you are, what you're doing, your mission, your purpose, and especially the Beyond Education Foundation, because I think at your age, I think it's unbelievable what you have, between brackets, achieved without going into the ego path. But it's really amazing that you already discovered at your age that giving back and contributing is the real richness in the world. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, for your words. It means a lot. I'm so grateful to have met you, to have this space. It's refreshing. It's empowering to cross paths with people that are like-minded and that challenge you, or that are willing to learn more, or that are just open, to ideas. I'm super grateful. Thank you for the space. And lovely.
And I only can say, please donate to the foundation, the Beyond Education Foundation. I already did. So I wish you all the best. And I wish you, it is going to be amazing to see really how you are changing the world, because you are touching and changing these lives of these children. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, Peter. And thank you so much for everyone that listens us all the way into here.
Hey, it's Peter here. Thanks a lot for listening to What's on Your Mind. Looking forward to your opinions and comments. And don't forget to subscribe on bsgrow.com and leave your email address to stay tuned for future episodes. Bye!